Hello, hello, everyone. This may end up being a bit of a vulnerable video. I don't really know the direction this is going. I don't have this scripted right now. I'm just kind of talking. Please take a moment to listen. Up on the screen, I have my very first video that I ever recorded on this YouTube channel. Now, I came on this channel with a very specific purpose that I don't really expect everyone to understand, but I kinda just wanna use something that I'm experiencing as learning ground to help people shift perspectives on the impact that we have on one another. I think it's important to talk about things like these. Now, I originally started this YouTube channel back in 2022, with this video that's right next to me right now. It is a true crime video looking into the passing of Kylie Rodney. I did a couple videos on this series. I'm gonna in a minute play the beginning of this video because I literally start my very first video that I ever did on YouTube, and at this time, it's hard for me to even watch this video because I remember the state that I was in mentally. I was under a lot of stress. I was dealing with a lot of depression, and my purpose that was keeping me going besides my son was this theory that I had of the blueprint. It was what made me rebuild my life from the shambles that it had fallen into at one point. It was my purpose, and packaging it up and presenting it to the world was how I was going to become the person that I needed to be. And I set every single intention to allow anything and everything to happen to prepare me to know how to do this, because I truly believe that sharing the blueprint is it's my mission. It's why I'm here. It's why I went through every single thing I went through. It's why I have the wisdom and the understanding that I do. Um, and I like to believe that's something that holds value, and I truly can't ignore the value that I see in that and how important that is to me. So I originally started this YouTube channel with the video that you see next to me in 2022. Up until that point, I had a public Etsy shop where I was doing readings for people. I discovered I had this gift. I used Etsy to test it and make sure that it was accurate, and it was. I did that for a while before got on camera because I recognized, okay, I can't share this the way I want to with just an Etsy. I need some kind of social media. I think I might have had Instagram, but didn't really use it at that point. So I started the YouTube channel so that I could share the blueprint. Etsy, what I did first with my gift was proving to myself, okay, this is provable. I can show people the patterns. I'm onto something here with the symbolic element of the blueprint, and I'm using tarot to show people that same pattern because it's the structure of the blueprint. So I came on YouTube specifically to build the foundation of proving the blueprint. I chose to do that with true crime, as you're about to hear me explain in this video, because it's something tangible, it's something provable, it's something where I say, "Look, this plus this equals this pattern. Look for this pattern." And then you see it in a case and you're like, "There's the pattern. Now I know what that plus that means." Then we get into the deeper parts of it. What does that mean that that person was going through? What chakra were they struggling with? What is going on mentally? What part of their journey are they on? What can we learn about how the spirit world communicates with us, how our higher self guides us? It wasn't ever about true crime, just true crime for me. I'm very interested in true crime. I want to keep doing true crime. I never said I was stopping doing it. But what I did say, and what I feel like a lot of people are struggling with, is I'm switching to focusing mainly on my life purpose, my passion, the thing that has kept me going, and the only reason that I made this YouTube channel. proving the blueprint, and I'm doing that with the podcast. I'm not stopping true crime, and I'm going to be doing weekly news and reverse readings. But I'm making this video so that people hopefully stop leaving really, like, downing comments, and I know I can't control other people, but, like, when someone what I hope you learn from this video that you're watching right now is when someone is really passionate about putting their heart on the line, to constantly be met with, like, "Oh, I liked the other thing better. Oh, I don't this isn't good for me." Um, Respectfully, I don't care because my mission is bigger than just proving that I know what I'm talking about. It was never about me. It was about what I'm meant to show others, and it's the blueprint. That's not it doesn't stop with me. But if I keep just doing true crime, it stops with me. I solve cases, you say, "Oh, look, she was right," and okay, and then we go to the next one. But it's not like the police and stuff are taking my info and doing anything with these cases. If I show you the blueprint, if I show you the foundation in which I believe we build our lives off of, that can change something for you right now. So, yes, I'm gonna keep doing true crime, and I'm going to do everything I can to uphold my weekly, news and reverse readings. I created a new structure for them. We go into the global energy, the political structure, celebrity pop culture, hidden headlines. We go into a 20-question rapid fire. So that's there. But please understand, and what I hope you take from this is that I'm putting m- m- my vulnerability, my heart on the line to show you something that I feel can change your life for the better. I'm bringing people up on this podcast to share their stories so that they can heal, and so can you, the watcher, the listener, so that we can build a community together like you've never seen before. Because what I have planned, if you'd give me a moment to show you before just talking down on it, you'd see that there's something here. And I'm not angry at people that are leaving comments. But I know that, like, this happens to so many people where they're passionate about something and they really get that fire going, and then so many people are like, "Oh, no. No, thanks," and it talks them out of their dreams. I can assure you that you're not talking me out of mine. But I hope that what you learn from this video is that you can impact others in a way that makes them shy away from their own, and that's not fair. I've put a lot of years, a lot of time, effort, and energy into building what I'm now presenting to you. So if you don't like it and you don't wanna go on that journey with me, that's fine. It might not be time for you, but be quiet about it. You're not gonna talk me out of building this because it at some point, whether you want to accept it or not yet, it could, positively benefit you, and I'm willing to stay the course in hopes that that happens. This isn't something that I thought of out of nowhere. This is literally the very first video that I ever posted on this platform, was telling you that I'm here to lay the foundation for what I am now presenting. Hello and welcome. I am Ashley, and I have a giant puzzle in my head that I have been working on for some time and trying to figure out how to convey the message to the average person that doesn't understand tarot, that doesn't really maybe even follow spirituality, doesn't matter. What I have in my head is a blueprint that is basically the foundation of the journey of life that we are all on, how we are connected, how the events that shape and mold our lives are related to one another for a reason. And I also want to provide you with that reason. I need to start somewhere. And where I've decided to start is with true crime. I'm going to start with true crime. I'm going to start with about 3 cases that we're going to focus on pretty, not heavily, but, we're going to look into 3 cases, so that you can understand how I'm using the energy to communicate the messages that I'm getting from the energy. And it kind of is meant to lay the foundation so that later, when we go into what I will call the blueprint, when we get into that, it will make sense and you'll understand the importance of it, the wording and symbology that I'm using, think of this as like a very long get to know me day while I show you similar examples of relevant situations that will later prove a point. I'm going to keep it short and sweet for now. Today we're going to be starting by looking into the most recent case that I've been really diving into of Kylie Rodney. I've been doing energy reads on this and other cases for some time. I have not been sharing them. I've decided to share them now because I am helping to lay the foundation for something that's massive, something that runs deep in all of our lives. And I felt the best way to do that is by starting with something that has checkable facts that you can research on your own. You can look into how you feel about the information that I'm putting forth, especially because it's energy, so it's open for interpretation. We're going to start with Kylie Rodney. We're going to work backwards into a couple other cases, and then you'll really understand why I'm using these cases and what I'm using them for after we get a little bit more into the blueprint. And the blueprint is basically an obstacle course that each of our souls have to go through in order to ascend and evolve, which is the purpose of being here. And to do that, we need movement to move through this maze energetically with our soul. And this podcast, the intention is to show you that maybe you haven't been moving and to guide you towards movement. What I hope to teach you is how to move through this maze with ease and grace and have a little fun while doing so. Didn't know at that time it was going to be a podcast, and the podcast is not the extent of it, but the podcast is the literal manifestation of what I talked about September 21st, 2022. And I think that I've put the puzzle together enough in my mind that I can have it make sense. And I'm ready to do that now. So I was not ready to do that yet because you know what I didn't have then? Any of my decks, the books, everything that I needed tool-wise, but I had put out the intention I wanted to build this myself from the ground up. And then I wanted to build a team and have that team present it with me. But at that time in 2022, I didn't have any of the decks that I now have that I made and designed for this purpose. I needed a way to tap into the wounds and the shadows in a direct way. I needed the cards to confirm what the person had already said because that is what shows you the blueprint. So you might not understand it yet, but I hope now you at least have a little bit of a perspective. I'm not just willy-nilly switching up my channel. I'm fulfilling a promise that I made to myself and everyone when I started this. I'm not asking everyone to like it, but I am asking you to at least not try and put out the fire that could light the path for so many other people. Because at this point going forward, you're not going to put out the fire, you're just going to get blocked. And I'd hate to cut anyone out of what I feel like is something that's so positive and it's going to be very healthy in terms of community. I don't want to have to cut anyone out of that, but if you grab something and try to put it over the fire, there's too much good that this can offer for me to allow that in the space. I know that the episodes are long because I'm going through the entire tarot deck. I'm essentially shuffling the deck on screen and then pulling 3 cards at a time for a question, which gives us approximately 26 questions because sometimes I ask for different things instead of just one question, right? So it is a little bit of a longer thing. The first episode was 1 hour and 45 minutes. Some people like the longer content, some people don't. I am posting the full episode and then I'm cutting it into chapters. So the chapters are I need to keep the long episode because I need no cuts so that you can see that the cards are shuffled and remain on screen. I can't be cutting it when I have a deck there because people will say that I'm stacking the deck. So it needs to be as long as it is because I need to give my guest the time to think. Okay. And it's also a lot of questions. So I'm aware that it's long, which is why I'm cutting it into you'll see chapter 1, chapter 2. Bethany's about to have her 3rd chapter out, and what that is, it's the podcast shortened. You can still go to the long podcast to see that I didn't stack the deck and I shuffled it on screen, but if you just wanna listen to the wisdom from the episode, you can listen to the chapters. I'm trying to make this accessible to everyone's preference and time because, again, it's like I've been given this bucket of light and my team was like, "You need to do a lot of work to be able to get people to realize that what's in this bucket is important because it's a small bucket. There's not an abundant amount of volume in the bucket, but there's a abundant amount of light." And my challenge, my goal, and my mission has been to figure out how to get people to see this bucket isn't just for me. This is something that I'm meant to share, but I need to show you the value in sharing it, and I need to show you the accuracy in it as well. I understand that when people are used to a certain type of content, any change up can be frustrating. But let me just explain this from my perspective. I'm still maintaining my members' readings at least 2 hours a week. Sometimes I'm a little short. I try to make up for that the other weeks. I'm a little still catching up from February when I was on vacation. Um, I'm going to try and do at least 1 subscriber's reading a month. I can't promise more than that right now, but I that is what I can promise to try my best to do at least 1 subscriber's reading a month right now. Hopefully that'll be more in the future, but right now I'm working again on some other big projects that are taking a lot of my time. Essentially 2 days out of the week at this point, I'm kind of working a different thing, a different job. So, something that I'm working on right now. So I have 3 days a week right now is essentially where we're at, which is why things are kind of coming a little bit slower here. Um, one of those days is dedicated to the podcast. One of those days is dedicated to members' readings. And the other, I will try my very best to get you true crime, or I will try my very best to turn that into a subscriber's reading. Please understand that I'm a mom. I'm running a few businesses right now, and the one thing that I want more than anything is to share what I have been given as this bucket of light, and that is the blueprint. And it's not for me, and this podcast is not for me. And it's a lot of work, but it's a lot of love, and it's very important, and it can make a difference, and it can make a difference in a way that and this isn't meant to be like a "go me" thing. This statement is solely because I was given the instructions of this by something much bigger than me. And I mean, if you some of my guests and I'm gonna have like a group thing with the guests, but you'll hear, especially from Bethany, especially from Ryan, especially from Brooke, like this is divinely orchestrated. This isn't me. This is something I was given, and I was given it to share. Okay. And it took a long time to figure out all the tools. I had to make the wounds deck. I had to make the mediumship deck, the true crime deck, the missing variables deck. Now I have all the tools that I needed because this had to be something I built specifically with certain perspectives and certain ways of getting answers in place. So now I have all that and I'm doing this. There's no way that I'm going to be talked out of spending at least 1 day recording for this podcast for the next year because the impact that that year can make in so many people's lives, even if it's just 1 sentence from a guest, even if it's just 1 perspective shift, it can change the course of someone's life, and I am unwilling to give up on that. So please understand, and if you don't wanna watch it, don't watch it, but don't tell me about it because I don't care. And I hope that one day it comes across your path when you need it the most and you know how welcome you are in the community that we are going to build, regardless if you liked it at first or not. But you don't need to tell me about it. I understand it's a big change. I understand I've been a little absent because I've been working on this and other projects, but I promise you, if you give this a chance, it will change your life. Maybe not the first episode you watch and maybe not the second, but you're gonna get something from one of my guests that's going to make you wake up the next morning with your eyes clearly open, and it's going to change the remaining days in a positive way. And if that happens for one person, it's worth it to me. But I'm really confident in what we're building and its ability to do a lot more than just that. I know I'm a little fired up right now, but I literally just went through like 10 comments trying to tell me uh, that they didn't follow me for this and that. And I understand that. But my first video said why I'm here. And now I'm showing you, and I pray that as many of you as possible will come on this ride with me. Still doing true crime as much as I can. Still maintaining the members' readings. Still doing, hopefully, a weekly news in reverse that is now restructured. But this podcast is me wearing my heart on my sleeve. It is everything that I have worked for years now coming to life. And I hope that those that are excited about this as well find a supportive and happy community. So if you're going against that community, you're going to be muted. Thank you everyone for watching. And I will see you tomorrow or the next day for the next episode with my dear friend Ryan.